We're in the middle of a revolution, a digital revolution, and you may have strong feelings about it. The opportunities it presents, but the threats it poses. But one thing you can't do is ignore it. If you've got strong digital skills, if you know how to code, if you've got a passion for teaching, then find out how you can play a positive role in this digital revolution by visiting nationalcodingweek.com and downloading a toolkit. So how can you help? Well, in the midst of this revolution, we're looking for beacons, shining examples of individuals or organisations that can help inspire and develop the confidence and skills of children and adults. After all, it's never too late to learn, is it? And in the midst of our communities, we have schools, colleges, universities, libraries. We've got businesses, digital businesses, who all can act as a focal point. Join them together. Run events. For example, teachers can share their skills with other teachers. We have a skills shortage and there aren't enough specialist teachers, and digital technology is changing so fast, so it makes sense to share good practice. Run events for non-specialists. Help build their confidence and skills so they can inspire the next generation. What about parents and guardians? Run events for them. If they know what's happening and being taught in schools, then they can help develop those children when they get home from school. If they don't know what's being taught, then they won't have the confidence to help their children. Run events for business leaders or decision makers or politicians. Make sure that they understand why it's important to invest in a digital curriculum, but also invest in training and development. If we don't have that, then we can't develop the next generation, or in fact our current generation of adults. Soon, almost 90% of jobs will require digital skills, and there is a skills shortage. National Coding Week was established to encourage adults as well as children to learn something new. We're not a government organisation, we're run by volunteers, and we want to make a difference. You can make a difference too. Feel confident enough to run some interesting and varied events, not just through National Coding Week, but throughout the year. Be bold, be brave, be creative. Run events, for example, intergenerational events where you have children and adults learning side by side, or web development for beginners, or app building, or game design, or cybersecurity. We all need to improve our cybersecurity awareness, so that would be a great introduction. Be creative about when you run the events and how you run the events, but whatever you do, make them achievable in the time frame you've got, but also make them fun. If they're fun, people are going to be learning. I've got two amazing people with me today, Jess and Callum, and they work in the digital sector, and they can give you, from their point of view, what it's like to work in the sector, but also advice for other people.
Hi, my name's Jess, and I'm a client account manager within a digital marketing business. Most of my role is PR, events, marketing, but predominantly it's managing my team and my clients. I learned most of my soft skills at school and most of my digital skills as an adult in the world of work, either in day courses, evening courses, or part-time education. One thing that really helped me when I entered the digital industry was looking for day, evening, and part-time courses to help upskill myself. What I used to do was search for the skill that I found I was lacking or I wanted to learn more about, and find local courses within my area that could upskill me in that. It meant that my CV was being built all the time, and usually I was given a certificate or a diploma at the end of the course, which made me look much more attractive to the next hiring manager. My advice to teachers in regards to digital skills is to take time to explore the product or skill that you're trying to teach. There's lots of brilliant software out there that can make it really fun and engaging. I'd probably organise some kind of meetup with loads of teachers, parents, and even you could upskill from the kids teaching you as well. Because at the end of the day, they're going to be digital natives, and you can instill different skills after they've taught you the digital side. So maybe about communications or how to deal with actually explaining the skills that they've learned in regards to digital to somebody who hasn't got very much idea about technology. My advice for people looking to join the digital industry is to be proactive. First and foremost, to be a solution-based thinker, not to be afraid to ask other people questions. If you don't know something, it's really important that you're keen to find the answer, whether that means asking somebody else or going into Google and finding it yourself. At the end of the day, everybody had to learn somehow, so it's really important that you're proactive in learning new skills.
Hi, I'm Callum. I'm a junior graphic designer at a digital agency in Jersey. I first got interested in sort of graphic design when I was in secondary school and doing my GCSEs to A-levels, and that's when I started to pick up sort of bits of interest using Photoshop, bits of like Premiere and other sort of Adobe software. And then from there I went to university to do a course called Digital Media Design, which had a very broad subject spectrum. So we did a bit of video game design, a bit of web design, a bit of graphic design, a little bit of everything. And then from there I specified in my second and third years to do graphic design. So my advice to people who are interested in joining the design industry or just any sort of digital industry would be to just start today. There's plenty of resources online that are free. There's software, there's tools, there's tutorials. So just start today, practice, and just give it a go. Make sure you're getting feedback on the work that you're doing. If you don't get feedback, it's a lot more difficult to see if you're going wrong somewhere or even if you're going right somewhere. So get feedback, listen to that feedback, act on that feedback, and you'll start improving leaps and bounds. Also, I'd say you need to stay on top of what's happening in the industry. Like there's so many things that come out every day. There's new tools, there's new trends, there's new software. And if you don't stay on top of it, you tend to get left behind a little. And finally, it's going to sound a bit cheesy, but make sure you have fun while you're doing it. My advice to teachers would be, I think first thing is to make sure it's interactive and engaging. Sort of any lesson that you give, you want to make sure that the students have something to do. I think in my experience, I always preferred the sort of lessons and lectures that were more like, here's a thing that you can do and here's how to do it. Now please go give it a go, as opposed to just being talked at for like an hour or two. So I think it really helps with the sort of learning process and help retaining sort of information and how to do things. I think the second thing that I would recommend would be to sort of set mini challenges or competitions. I've always had a bit of like a competitive spirit, so when I was learning, sort of little quizzes or little sort of speed tests or competitions always helped. I remember in my first year when I was learning HTML and CSS that we had a little challenge where the lecturer just put up a really simple HTML and CSS web page just on the screen, and he said just replicate it, and the first person who does it wins. I didn't, but I learned something new. So, and then I think the third thing I would recommend would be just to make sure you're passionate about what you're talking about. If you're not passionate, then it comes across and people aren't passionate about what you're speaking about. So make sure you're engaging, interactive, make sure to set sort of little challenges or goals, and make sure that you care about what you're talking about.
So now you've heard their story, here's a little bit about me. I was a head teacher, and when I was 48, I got cancer. So I sold my house and quit my job to focus on my recovery. And during that journey of recovery, I bumped into a former student, a 19-year-old, and I worked with him for a few weeks to help his business, and it got me thinking, is it too late to learn to code, for example? And then where would an adult learn to code? And there weren't many things that were being run. So I taught myself coding skills, and the youngster helped improve my confidence. And as a result, I could then help others, help the unemployed to learn to code and get digital jobs, help career change, those people who have been made redundant, switch careers and get into the digital sector. I help business leaders become more cyber savvy. And all because I'd learnt those skills, those coding skills and digital skills, because I'd worked with somebody else. You too can do that. Learning to code or learning digital skills can be life-changing for you and for others. So running events is important. Sharing expertise is important. Is your organisation a beacon of good practice? Are you doing interesting things and creative things with children and adults so they can learn digital skills? Are you inclusive? Do you help people whatever their starting point in life, or help those people who are at the margins of society? If so, follow us on social media, tag us in, we'd love to see what you're doing. Also visit our website nationalcodingweek.com, download a toolkit and become a digital beacon within your community.